most important meeting of our time.
This is the first official meeting of the Sylvia Path project.
That's correct.
Isn't that exciting?
Yes.
You sound very excited.
I woke up just for this.
Did you just wake up?
Yes. All right. So I think the things to discuss at the top of the list are going to be what do we got to pay for?
Okay. So first things first, each crew member, or the main crew members, which is me, you, Lauren, Tig, and Andrew.
That's 5 people.
Yeah, that's the core crew. Each gets paid 10 grand.
Okay.
But the way I'm thinking about doing it right now is it's just $100 a week over the next 2 years, starting in August. So
Okay.
that would come out to about 10 grand each, because the amount of work at the moment really is only like maybe an hour or two a week. Obviously there'd be a lot more closer to it, but you know, just something
Right. Yeah.
for, you know, the work that's being done now, which is a lot, and there'll be more later, but
yeah. Okay. Are we hiring on anyone else to do grip work or other things on set that I'm aware of?
Ow, Alfie. So Tyke gave me the email, I haven't emailed yet, of a guy named Kevin who is willing to do a little bit of work. We might also get I mean, I'm trying to think if there's really, the only other thing we'd really need on set is perhaps a gaffer, and I have a couple of people in mind for that, but those people would just be paid. So any other like crew members are only paid on set day of.
Okay.
And those are crew minimum, which is $100 a day.
Okay.
And for those people, it'd all be local to wherever that shoot is, so we don't have to cover their housing or food or any of that.
I see. Okay. Okay. Fairly cheap then. What about all the locations? Because you want to fly all around the country, right?
Yeah. So I obviously need to talk to Lauren about this, who's gonna get on. Well, the first thing Lauren's gonna do is she is getting the permission from the Sylvia Plath Foundation, or their estate, which we don't technically need because it's a fictionalized incident, but it's good to have it just in case. But her next project is figuring out like actual locations, getting permits and stuff.
Yeah.
Which is also a conversation with Tig, because they need to know, you know, what the visuals look like and that sort of thing. But a location we need for sure, like 100% sure, is we need a beach, which I think the best option right now would be like the Oregon coast.
Okay.
Because it's pretty close to us. It's a lot easier and cheaper to shoot there than it is like the California coast. California coast, it's just, even if like you're in Northern California, there's just a lot of people and permits can be kind of complicated shooting on beaches. Oregon's pretty simple as far as film goes.
I see.
And it's pretty close to us. So, you know, we could get people local to this area, or I know a couple of people up in Oregon. So I think Oregon would be good for the beach stuff, which that's about a week shoot. It's about 7 days worth of stuff. The other shoots, so there's the beach shoot, and then there's 7 conversations.
Yes.
Each conversation is a 4-day shoot. 3 days for the actual shooting, and then a final day for ADR and pickups.
Okay.
And yeah, I don't know. It's just, I mean, obviously in the script, it all takes place in a kitchen, but visually, that's just very
boring.
Yes. I mean, it's because it's a very dialogue heavy film already.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of different options which we can play around with. One of them is that each scene is shot in a different kitchen. that allows for a lot more flexibility because those can be shot anywhere in the country.
Yeah.
So those can all be shot basically in the same city or whatever, and everyone's just in the same place the whole time. The other option is to shoot some of the scenes outside in a more sort of esoteric sort of thing. The complication with that is we have a lot less control of lighting. We're shooting outside, so you have to account for the weather and clouds. So it's started to move away from shooting outside just because there's a lot of complicated things.
Sure.
And the guy who directed 1917, Roger Deakins, who's mostly a cinematographer, when he shot 1917, they'd spend like entire days just waiting for clouds to move. And they can't do anything about it because, you can't control the clouds. And obviously, like if you shoot in like forest or something, it's not as big of a deal. But then also like shooting outside, there's a lot of permit problems, and we couldn't account for like rain or any of that shit. So
Yeah.
shooting outside's probably not an option. Although I'd still like to shoot the flats. At least one of the scenes we have the flats.
Okay.
It's just such a visually stunning location. Like the other stuff, I don't really care as much. And probably that last scene too would be best for the flats.
Well, if we can all do it in Reno, that certainly decreases the total cost of the whole adventure.
But you have to account for tax incentives too.
Yes, this is true.
Which our budget's big enough now that we'll get tax incentives.
Great.
So we'll need to look into, I know Nevada's is okay. Obviously California is one of the best. I know Arizona has a really good one. Georgia has a really good one. There's a couple other cities. And since they're all interiors, we could, it doesn't have to be here in Reno. But if Reno's best, Reno's best.
Sure. Well, if we're going out to the Great Salt Flats and the Oregon coast to shoot a kitchen scene, we're gonna need to bring kitchen equipment out there. Is this not the case?
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't need to be like, we don't need the whole thing, but we'll probably need like
We'll need an oven.
we'll need an oven. We'll need an oven. We'll need like a little like 1960s sink and some other props.
Okay. So I imagine if we're driving, it would be easy to just bring that in a car.
Yeah.
But if we're flying somewhere, we're gonna need to
drive it out there.
Right. So that, well, no, not, we could drive it out there or we could source it locally.
Oh, okay.
So we could find someone who sells antiques.
Yeah.
And then rent out their antiques. But then we would also need a rental car to get the antique to the film site.
Right.
Rental cars aren't very expensive though.
It's
and
like,
I imagine renting a sink isn't that expensive either.
yeah.
All right. When do you want to shoot for doing all these shots? All this filming?
July, either June or July of 2025. Because that's when everyone has the time to do it. Because Tig's job doesn't have anything in the summers, and neither does Lauren's. And Andrew said summer's usually the easiest, so either June or July.
25. Oh yeah. Okay. So that gives us exactly 2 years to make this happen.
Yep,
It should be enough time.
I think so.
Okay, so I assume you were gonna do pre-production with Andrew
And Lauren
and Lauren
and Tig.
from now till June and July in 2025.
Yeah, we'll probably, Lauren and I will make a schedule when I meet with her on the 18th. But tentatively, the schedule right now looks like up until January, we're just looking at legal stuff. So permits, permissions, that sort of thing. And then we'll start casting. We'll start looking for locations next summer. Like actual,
Okay.
like the actual locations we're gonna actually shoot at. And then we'll start doing rehearsals late 2024 with our cast, and then we should be ready by. Everything should be good to go by. But yeah, I guess if we are going to shoot all interiors, which seems like, except for this all flat shoot, I would like each shoot to be in a different kitchen. You know, at least so we're getting some variety. So we'd be looking at. I'm guessing the best thing to do is just to rent an Airbnb for like 5 days or 4 days.
Yeah, that would probably be easiest. I'm sure there's a million and one rustic Airbnbs
Yeah.
that are driving distance to us in Reno. Okay. This one makes sense to me. What about post-production? Do you have a timeline for that?
1 year. Yeah, the goal is to release in to be ready for Cannes in 2026, which I think the date is like November. But that should be plenty of time. I mean, Surreal Haste, I
was gonna say, compared to Surreal Haste, that's a ton of time.
Yeah, I think we had a first edit done in a month, but that's because we were trying to get it in time for Sundance. But the final edit wasn't ready till like March. So I guess we ended up with like a 6-month, but we had a break in between. So yeah, it was like 4 months, but this should definitely be, a year should be long enough to
see it up.
Okay. And then we'll need equipment. So the lights we have are fine. I like those lights, but we should probably get another set of lights of the same kind, which are, those lights are $500. We'll need a proper camera, which will be, we don't need like a fucking IMAX camera. Yeah, we don't need $100,000 camera, but at least like $3 to $5 grand on a camera.
Do you do camera rentals, or do you want to purchase one?
We could do camera rentals. I guess we could look into how much that would cost, and maybe if it'd be, because obviously if you rent a camera, yeah, you can rent a much nicer camera. But the only problem with camera rentals is you have to know like the ins and outs of that camera before you rent it.
Oh, so you don't waste time.
Yeah.
Right.
And those like expensive cameras are like very complex instruments. I mean, I guess Tig, you know, I told Tig whatever kind of camera they want to use. So, you know, they could always study it up, but the thing is they want to have their hands on the camera. And I guess, you know, maybe we could rent it out a week or two before we start shooting, but.
Yeah, but like, I think that's the last thing you want to do when you're stressed.
Yeah.
Following up the camera.
That's a good point.
Okay. What about sound? Are we still going to use the Yeti mic attached to a long metal stick?
It's ADR. That's what the 4th day is for.
Okay.
So we'll be using a mic like this, which is actually a pretty high quality mic. I might want to purchase a very high quality microphone, which is about $1,000 for like top of the line. But that'll be so it's 3 days of shooting, and on the 4th day we do pickups in ADR.
Okay, so before we cover flights and Airbnb rentals, and if we have to pay actors, we're looking at about $59,000. Plus kitchen rentals, that's about another $1,000.
And then we'll also need to cover hotels and food for.
Yep. We don't need to fly out to the Great Salt Flats.
No.
We don't need to fly to Oregon.
No.
Well, but we still have to fly some people here and then drive to Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, you know, it'd probably be better to just fly them direct to Oregon. Okay. Well, anyway, so that's Andrew, Tig, Shannon. Do you want to fly the whole crew out for all the shoots?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's 3 people we gotta fly around the place. Right?
Yes. Although Lauren, they're not sure if they'll be on set yet or not. So they might just be a virtual producer. So this will be producing. They just will be doing it from their house.
I see.
But Tig, obviously, we have to have on set, and Andrew too.
Okay.
And Lauren probably going to be on set.
Oh, okay. And then I guess we only have to fly them once or twice, unless we all fly to a different place. But we only have to get them out here, right?
Yeah.
So once they're in Oregon, we can drive them back and then do all the other shits. So I'm gonna put the average cost of a flight at $450. Unless you want to fly first class. So it's gonna be around 63,000. And then hotels, I guess they can all stay here, huh? Hotels are gonna be a little pricey.
Yeah.
So
I
you
mean-
get a 2-bedroom hotel for 28 days,
So
35 days.
what we could consider doing is just putting them up in the Airbnbs that we're renting out. So we have to pay for the Airbnb anyways.
Yeah, I like that idea.
And Andrew can stay with us. So it's just Lauren and Ty, really. And if the Airbnb, as long as it has 2 bedrooms, they just have to move like 4 days.
For 35 days, right? Except for the Oregon coast. But we're all gonna need to get an Airbnb for that, right?
Yeah, we'll need a place to stay for that one. And I guess the Salt Flats too. We'll need a place to stay for that.
Check prices. I heard that the Airbnb market recently collapsed, which is good for us.
Yeah, I remember looking at Airbnbs a couple of months ago, and it was like way more expensive than a hotel.
Yeah, I noticed that too. But
It's like, why the fuck? The whole point of the Airbnb was that it was like an affordable option for people that want to use a hotel.
right,
But when
and
I
it's definitely worse than a hotel in terms of like can't do as much, but they charge you more.
yeah, and then you have like all this extra stuff shit you got to do. Or like hotel, you just have to not break anything.
Right.
It's a lot of pressure.
Okay, so from June 10th or June 1st to the 7th, I'll check in 2025. And we have 5 adults. I guess I don't technically need to go there if it changes the price too much.
I know for a hotel, it's about 130 a night. 100 to 130 a night in most of these places. Although if we do 2 beds, you know, like whatever, 2 queens, it's the same price for 2 queens as it is for 1 king. So if Andrew and I bunk, you know, we're at least saving 130 a night. Or if you and I bunk.
I'm looking at big price differences, but it seems like we could swing a place for about $1,000 for all 7 days, from June 1st to 7th.
$1,000 for 7 days for all of us.
For all of us, all
Oh.
5.
That's definitely cheaper then, right? Yeah.
That's 142 a night per person or per day,
But
but per 5 people,
that's pretty cheap.
yeah, that's more because a hotel we need at least 2 rooms.
Yeah.
Which would be twice the cost roughly. Okay. So 4-day Airbnbs for 2 people through July or June and July.
No, we need 6 Airbnbs. There's 7 conversations.
Right, 6 Airbnbs, not 4. Okay.
I mean, we really only need them for the 3 days. Because the 4th day is just, as long as we have any pickups, if we just do ADR on the 4th day, we really only need them for 3 days.
3. Oh, yeah, okay. 3, so June 1st.
Because we don't need the Airbnbs for the ADR.
2 nights is 3 days. I'm gonna average it at 400. So 7 times 400 is 800. That's about 4,000 on Airbnbs.
Wait, don't we need 3 nights? Because we need 3 full days to shoot. And if it's 2 nights, then we can't get there till like the afternoon.
Let's move it up to 5. So it's 3,500. So we're looking at $63,000. That's not bad. Weren't you originally estimating like 100,000?
I have 100. That's how much I have put away for the project.
I think we could easily be under budget for this. It seems. Stuff. Oh well, there's food, but food's not that expensive really. 35 days, and I don't know. It's probably like $30 a day per person. It's like 900 per person. Yeah. And then it says like another 5,000, which brings it from 66 to 71. So, yeah,
You haven't counted actors yet either, right?
no. But I was under the impression that actors work for a lot cheaper generally than the sector does for these indie films.
Yeah, actors work pretty cheap. We could probably negotiate just like a flat fee for each actor. Obviously, the person who plays Sylvia, they're in the whole film, so they'll need a better wage than the others. But the other actors, I mean, really, if you're paying for, I mean, I guess it also depends if they're local to the area or not, which I guess would make it easier. If they're local, then they'd have to be paid, but if they're not local, we just have to cover room and board. So I guess it'd probably be cheaper if they were local.
Yeah, I imagine. Total initial estimate.
If we work with SAG actors, we'll have to have the SAG minimum, which is $100 a day.
Yeah, put that down. $71,200. There you go.
Now I just need to call my parents for a small $71,000 loan.
Small enough, $71,000. Not bad.
No, that should be easy enough. I'll be able to. I'll have that. Is any other money stuff?
Nope.
Okay.
Got it.
So then, project to have ready for next time is figuring out the tax incentives of the different states and figuring out if it really is cheaper to, because some tax incentives in some states it's over 50% of your film is covered. So calculating if it really is cheaper to shoot here, or if the tax incentives are good enough that shooting somewhere else might have. And I guess I know there are some, I'm sure there would be some Airbnbs that would want the free advertising that comes from film. So I guess there's that involved too. But yeah, for next time, figuring out if shooting here in Reno is the best option. Because if it is, that's fine. But if it makes more sense to shoot somewhere else, then that's cool too. Okay. Well, is that it?
I think so.